Hello, everybody. This is your professional scold. You all behaved very well today. Thank you very much. My name is Susanna Goodman. I am the director of... My name is Susanna Goodman. I'm the director of the Election Security Program at Common Cause. And I love EVN. I served a number of years on the coordinating committee and on the conference planning committee, so I know it is a ton of work, and I'm just really grateful to our conference planning committee, to Purvi and Liz and everybody else. Thank you. We have decided that they are going to get all of the awards because they deserve them. Seriously, this takes a lot of... All right, would the members of the conference planning committee first please stand up? That's it? Just you two? And Elaine Headley, who is very fearless, and you too will get a sorry if you join next year. Yes, don't they? Thank you so much. They secured the space, they planned the panels, and you know, it was a labor of love. Liz did not get a bonus from Brennan Center, and Purvi did not get an increase in pay from GW, I believe. Is that correct? Am I right about that? Larry, you might want to reconsider. Okay, so seriously, I want to thank them, and I want to thank the coordinating committee of EVN. Could the coordinating committee stand up? Yeah. Yeah.
Now is as good a time as any for me to once again say I am trying to term limit myself off the committee. The rest of the committee are accepting nominations, including self-nomination.
Yes. Please, if you want to volunteer on either of these.
Non-self are often more effective.
So, but thank you very, very much. And now we don't get the opportunity. There are many people in this, all of the people in this room work extremely hard. Many volunteer hours, many changing their work. And this is our opportunity to thank a few folks. But all of you in the room deserve an award, and you know that. I suggested that and was told that dinner at 9 o'clock would not be acceptable. So I would like to just begin. I'm going to list the awards, but they're in the, there's a hyperlink in the agenda if you want to see the award descriptions. So the first award we want to give out is the Public Service Award for protecting and promoting election integrity and verifiable elections, and this is given to a public official or governmental unit at any level or branch of government. And I would like to ask Ron Rivest to come up and present this first award. They're there.
Yeah, so this is the Public Service Award, and it goes to Neil Kelly of Orange County, California. Neil, you're not here, I know, but I hope you're watching. Congratulations. Just let me read a little bit. So Neil is the Registrar of Voters of Orange County, which is the 5th largest jurisdiction in the country, 1.6 million voters. So he is really busy when he manages elections. He's also been busy piloting risk-limiting audits, working on the board of advisors for the EAC, and I know him well because I served with him on the National Academy's panel on the future of voting recently, and they produced the report that you saw from there. So, Neil, you got your hands in so many things. I don't know how you do it, but congratulations. Wonderful service you've given the community, and I guess these awards will be mailed to you.
No. Dana DeBevour is going to accept it for him.
Oh, okay. Dana, you're here. Where?
I am.
Well, congratulations. You can simulate Neil. Congratulations, Neil.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Dana already got this award, so it's fair.
Okay. She wants a photo with it.
Oh, without this.
Okay.
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 Here we go.
can't see.
Okay. Thank you. That was a little confusing. Thank you so much, Ron. Okay, I got Neil's award right here. They said it couldn't be done. But Neil Kelly proved that you can do an RLA with a legacy system. Neil went right ahead with an RLA pilot to absolutely prove everybody wrong that this was entirely possible to do. He believes in accountability and transparency in the conduct of elections, and it was in 2011 that he did his first RLA in conjunction with the California Secretary of State's office. In 2018, he did another RLA pilot project that was a proof of concept, and he did that one in addition to his usual 1% recount. What Neil would want me to convey to you today is how entirely honored and grateful he is for this award, and he would also like for me to extend his special thanks to Stephanie Singer, Neil McBurnett, and Ron Rivest. These amazing people have given generous amounts of their time and brain power to help Neil come up with an RLA system. So on behalf of Neil Kelly, thank you very much for this award. And what he would want me to add is the collaboration between EVN members and Neil Kelly represents the very best that EVN can get. We thank you.
Next, we have the John Gideon Memorial Award for heroic and effective advocacy for verifiable elections at any level. And if you all remember John Gideon, he was outsized in actual size, as well as his efforts on behalf of transparent and verifiable elections. And I would like to turn it over to Eddie.
Thank you, Susanna, and everybody. It gives me particular pride to present this award, both because of the name in which the award is to be presented and for the recipient. John Gideon, it's almost scary to believe, went from the terrestrial to the celestial 10 years ago. And each time I think of that, I'm reminded as we look around, all of the smiles and the embraces that we give each other can easily be wiped away in days and hours, because he left a conference 10 years ago, and in a few weeks he left us. But he left a great shadow, and his shadow has extended his prominent presence. He's been somebody that, in which this award is presented, because it represents not a work or a service, but a persona. It's what we call the scrappy activist, or scraptivist when we put it together. It's someone who is not only scrappy, they're determined, they're tenacious, they never give up, they're tough. But they also, and this, Tina, goes to what relationship you have expected and what we know of the recipient. They don't always get in the faces of election officials, but they get in their heads and their hearts. And so this person, who has tremendous research skills, advocacy skills, is someone who represents that profound persona of the prominent presence of John Gideon. And so this year, we present this award to Neil McBurnett. Neil is the son. He is the son of two singers. I just found that out. The son of two singers. And he sings his song in the key of election integrity. Neil, we present this to you with gracious. All right. Ubuntu. Oh, they want you to come before the mic, too. Okay. Woohoo. A little out. Oh, let's see. Something inside. I don't know how to work. Right. Oh, my name. Yeah.
Well, I was at EVN 10 years ago hearing about John Gideon. I did not know him personally, but that is way too high an honor the way that you gave that, Eddie. I do try to reach out, and it would be a great honor if elected officials thought that I was helping them with both the challenge of doing this and the courage to know that they can do it, because I absolutely loved what Tina said, you know, and what so many people find when they actually pilot an RLA. You know, it's just actually making, you know, showing that your paper matches your results. It's not hocus pocus. It's not drenched in statistics. It's just actually showing that the results match. And so you all are the most amazing group of people. I am unbelievably honored. I send in a whole bunch of nominations, and you know, all the people that I want to get awards in this community are fabulous. Yeah, sure. So anyway, I'm deeply honored. Thank you.
Next, we have the Innovation Award for path-breaking product development that greatly facilitates robust election verification and auditing. And Liz Howard will announce the winner of this award.
So there's two winners of this award. One woman cannot be here with us tonight. Her name is Mary Srizar, and she is an amazing woman. I met her about a year ago at the EAC Voting Equipment Certification Conference in Charlotte, maybe Raleigh. And she got up and gave a presentation about the K-cut method of selecting random ballots in a risk limiting audit. Now, admittedly, I couldn't follow all of it, but what I did immediately realize was that she was brilliant and that she had a passion for elections and for helping election officials. And she also agreed to work with me. So we just immediately hit it off, and she has been so patient and so kind, walking me through what this procedure is, not only to me, but to the election officials, especially in Michigan and all across the country that she's been working with. And so this is a method that is definitely going to make RLAs more efficient across the country. So, Mary, I hope you are watching. We are just... She sent in a video. Oh, wonderful. Well, I hope you're watching, and I can't wait to see you.
Oh, sorry. It's here. Okay. Okay. So what do you do? What do you do? Oh, this? But this is on. No, but the voice is not coming. Okay. Why don't you go ahead? But this is full. This is on. Yeah. Okay. So maybe you just continue and I'll figure it out.
Okay. So we're very lucky that the next woman who is the recipient of this award is with us. So we will not have any AV issues. Kelly Otto Boni is fantastic. She's about to get her PhD from UC Berkeley. I had the just honor of meeting her in the middle of our Michigan RLA pilot. Kelly had been working on the back end with Philip on coming up with the what I call the hybrid method for the RLA, and was working furiously. And I didn't realize all of the amazing work that she was doing until, I mean, maybe like a month and a half before the audit happened. And Kelly just jumped right in. And in addition to doing these magic things and creating this magic tool for us that we were able to use, she was able to explain a few things about Philip to me, which was very helpful. So I am just, you know, again, very honored to know her. I am so excited that she got this award. So congratulations.
Has my name on it. Photo? Yeah. Sure. Thank you. I'm so humbled to be here, really. I mean, I think I started reading about risk limiting audits about 2 years ago, really. This was not ever something I expected to do, but Philip brought me in and mentored me, and now I'm in this room with so many people who I have read the works of and I admire, and it's just awesome. So I should really thank Philip for bringing me here, and I want to thank everyone who helped me build the tool that we ended up using in Michigan, and all the city clerks and state bureau officials who trusted me to use my software in their pilots. So I'm just so grateful. Thanks.
Don't wear shoes, and it's okay to eat weeds. So don't ever stop running. And thank you, Philip Stark, for bringing us Kelly, and for inventing RLAs. The next award is for journalism, for outstanding journalism in any medium that has enhanced public and policymaker knowledge about election integrity issues, including vulnerabilities of deployed or proposed voting and tabulation systems, problems in real elections, and election verification methods. That is definitely written by someone at EVN. Come on, Mark. Come and give the next award.
I didn't do it.
All right.
Hey, y'all. I didn't know what it meant to be humbled by receiving an award until EVN gave me one. So what Kelly said a moment ago really resonated. I was reminiscing with Kim Zetter last night, a previous recipient of our journalism award, that back in the day, maybe 3 years ago even, there simply weren't a lot of reporters who had day-to-day responsibility for covering this beat and actually knowing what they were talking about. And of course, when things started to break, when it became apparent, hey, there's something newsworthy here, we need to write stories about it, a lot of us started spending a lot more time with journalists, but it wasn't always easy because it's hard to go 0 to 60. I had the distinct honor of being able to present an award to someone who is an exemplar of the best in beat reporting, our fantasy of the reporter we wanted to be working with for the last 15 years or more. Eric Geller at Politico, and also, by the way, on Twitter, has just hit, I think, a very high standard of fact, of understanding background, of being able to provide context, of being able to report this story and raise everyone's expectation of themselves, of what they ought to understand as citizens. So for me, that's about as high as public service gets, and I'm very pleased to be able to present this today.
Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. Don't forget to use
Oh, yes, thank you. Wow, I don't know how I can live up to that, but thank you, EVN. This is a real honor. I'll keep this short. My first day at Politico was June 14th, 2016, and if that date sounds familiar to anybody, that's the day I was in my orientation, and I got a news alert on my phone that the Washington Post was reporting that Russian government had hacked the Democratic National Committee, and I guess you can say that my life was forever changed. I had no idea that I would be writing about election security, certainly not as much as I have. And it's been fascinating to learn about this and bring information about it to the public. I have a great team at Politico, my editor, Mike Farrell, and Bob King, who is enormously helpful in making sure that all this information gets out there to the public. My co-writers on our cyber team, Tim Starks and Martin Matishak, have been fantastic in what is really a team effort. My byline is on a lot of these stories, but a lot of this is because we work together to gather the data. I mean, as everybody here knows, a lot of this is about digging deep into spreadsheets and looking for the trends and looking for the outliers and trying to figure out what a good story is. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Next, I would like to, we would like to go to the Research Award for research and publications of any type in any venue that develop scientific, technical, legal, statistical, historical, and other intellectual foundations and critiques essential for achieving verifiable elections and promoting election integrity. I'm very excited about this award, and Porvi, come and make the presentation.
So I was asked to keep this really short. Susanna, I guess people don't like to hear me speak, but it gives me great pleasure to present Dr. Rebecca Mercury with this year's Research Award. Dr. Mercury's doctoral dissertation, Electronic Vote Tabulation Checks and Balances, at the University of Pennsylvania's Engineering School, is among the earliest works on the insecurity of modern voting systems. In 1992, she proposed the use of physical verifiability of human-computer transactions as a means of establishing trust, with the act of voting as an illustrative example. At that time, she proposed the use of a paper record to overcome the problems posed by computational tallying. She is credited with the origin of the phrase voter-verified paper ballots, which she spent a considerable amount of time and energy promoting in order to encourage independent validation of vote totals from the tangible cast records. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Rebecca Mercury.
Thank you very much. Wow, how cool.
We get to show it and she takes a picture. Congratulations.
So cool.
Oh, okay, come close.
I'll come close.
Hold up the paper too.
You have a certificate too?
Oh, I'm so sorry. And there's a copy of the Constitution.
Oh, you always use that.
Okay, is this better?
This is good, yeah. Thank you so much. Just a few words to say. My thanks to the EVN Awards Committee for this unexpected honor. I really had no idea. Back in the 1980s, when I and a handful of other computer scientists began advocating for paper ballots, we were surprised to be referred to as Luddites. Since then, we doggedly raised awareness at countless hearings and with our research and publications. Gradually, the tide turned. I am heartened by the speakers today who are enthusiastically recommending paper, and I'm amazed that many also understand the important differences between verified and verifiable and ballot versus trail. But as promising as the discussion has been today, we have heard little about the insidiously developing end run around counting the paper ballots. An increasing number of states, including Florida, Michigan, and California, now have laws that actually can prohibit manual counting. And I know some of you will disagree with me about this. Risk-limiting audits are no substitute for the transparency of a full and public count. Plus, the math is really a mess. Even more messy is cryptographic voting with verification handed off to the intellectual elite. Senator Wyden explained that insecure elections are no accident, but rather a way to maintain the status quo. Beware and be mindful as we go forward. Thank you again, and happy Pi Day.
So, as many folks in this room know, this election verification network was started by some visionaries at the Quixote Foundation, which is sort of a whimsical way of describing their approach to advocacy, which is that they were going to tilt at windmills, I guess, until they conquered them. This is after the Don Quixote novel. We have another advocacy award called the Full Tilt, Tilting at Windmills, Advocacy Award. And, you know, did we even tell you, John McCarthy, that we wanted you to present this award? Okay. Oh, you're over here? Yeah. Come please up and present it.
So 2 years ago, I was surprised and very honored to receive EVN's Full Tilt Advocacy Award in this very room. So it's fitting and my great pleasure to announce this year's winner of that award. And I'll do it a little differently. Like me, it was a guessing game. This year's winner is a retired computer scientist. Well, that really narrows it down. And election integrity has been his full-time volunteer focus for over 10 years. Maybe a little less. Back in 2006, 2007, the statewide organization he founded helped get a paper record law passed, and he helped persuade his state to purchase OpScan equipment rather than DREs. He's organized citizen observers for over 700 post-election audit counting sessions, and he's personally observed over 150 of those. He's also led central counting of absentee ballots for 5 times, regularly served as a poll worker, precinct supervisor, and election day registration leader over the past 10 years. He was one of the founding members and currently manages the State Audit Working Group. Just this January, he helped plan and implement the pilot risk-limiting audit experiments in Rhode Island. Given all these clues you've heard, how many people know that at least some of you have guessed that the winner of this year's Full Tilt Advocacy Award is the founder and executive director of Connecticut Voters Counts, Luther Weeks. Thank you. The medal and, of course, the multicolor version. All right. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay.
Well, thank you all. You know, this is not a one-person award, really, but it's not true that I knew Don Quixote, even though I come from the state where the play Man of La Mancha first played. So I just would say until 2002, all I had done was give $10 to George McGovern and voted. And I got involved in elections after that. And then I read Bev Harris's book. And that came back on me when my wife sent it out to a bunch of friends. And I got this call at work and said, tomorrow there's going to be a hearing at the legislature on electronic voting. So I decided to go in my lunch hour, and Rebecca was there. So that was kind of cool. And at the end of it, I decided, well, I'll go up and I'll testify as the expert from 1 mile away, which was exactly where I worked, 1 mile away. And after that, it was kind of history. But somehow Pam Smith invited the group I was with to come to the election audit conference in 2008 in Minneapolis. And I was the only person in Connecticut to take advantage of that opportunity. And EVN was so secretive that I didn't even know it existed. And then all of a sudden I get this call, and on the phone was Allison Johnson and Al Lenge, and who was our election enforcement person, and the Deputy Secretary of State, Leslie Merritt at that time. And they said, gee, we're trying to figure out who we should invite to come to the EVN conference. So that's, you know, so that's how I got invited. I'm glad to have known John Gideon and many of the people here today. And certainly, my intention is to keep tilting at Windmills, because I know one of these days we'll be successful all over the place. So thank you.
Don't let it near Alex Halderman. Okay. We have one final award, and then we are going to still try to run the video of Mayari, because it would be great to hear her remarks. But the last award we have is the Long-Term Contributor Award, honoring an individual or organization who, for more than 10 years of extraordinarily broad and beneficial achievements for verifiable elections. And Larry Norden, come and make that presentation.
Hi, everyone. Susan Diaz. First of all, I'm going to start my introduction with an apology for not trying to pronounce your last name. But as all of you know, Susan is the co-founder, president, CEO of the U.S. Vote Foundation and Overseas Vote. We had a panel earlier today where we were talking about bridging the gap between usability and security, and how critical it is to strengthen those things together. And Susan has really been a leader on that front. To point to just one example, there still is this controversy over internet voting for military and overseas voters. Lots of people saying, yes, we need to do this. Lots of people in this room saying, absolutely not, ever. Instead of engaging in the yes or no, Susan decided rightly to lead and to conceive of the first really comprehensive analysis to answer the question, what would we need to have a secure system where people could vote over the internet? And she brought in election officials, computer scientists, and cryptographers to actually set out those standards. And then we could say, have we met that or not. And we're not there yet, obviously. But I really do think that instinct to look at problems that way is a good way for us to come together and try to solve difficult problems that we have in dealing in elections. I also just want to say on a personal note that Susan has just been so generous to those of us who have been working in the field for a long time and encouraging. A couple of years ago, the Brennan Center decided that we wanted to reach out to election officials for surveys to survey them to get a better understanding of both what systems election officials were using, but also what problems they were confronting, so that we could decide on what our priorities were, and also communicate better to policymakers that we were dealing with on behalf of election officials to actually identify the real problems that needed to be addressed and where the funding should really go. I contacted Susan to see how she might be able to help us. I knew she had really good relations with election officials and good lists. And not only did she provide us with an election official database, but also was very encouraging about the project and interested to work with us. And also so helpful in taking the database that they had at Overseas Voter Foundation to make it as useful as possible for us. She could have just given us the database and then said good luck, but was really invested in what we did with it. I was very grateful for that. So there's no question that this is a well-deserved award, and Susan, thank you for everything that you've done.
Where's the thing to stand up? I'm serious about the thing to stand up. I'm coming over here because I want to be able to see all of you. So touched. I know I'd be really nervous to get up here when I started hearing all that. I'm so, so grateful to all of you, so thankful, and I feel really, really happy. Sorry, I'm just getting emotional because it's been such a long road, and to have this much support, it means a lot. Overseas Vote Foundation was a right place, right time project. I moved overseas about 25 years ago to Paris, to the center of the universe. I thought I'd never leave, but I did. I ended up going to Germany, which was just fine because my French mother-in-law can't come for lunch. Anyway, I had a couple kids in Germany, and the second one, I was working in software. The second one had a birth defect. She's fine, but I had to stay home and dive into that. People started coming to me to do projects, and I developed a company called The Dream Plan, which was to help other people realize their dreams, but in the end, it helped me find mine. And I found this challenge of overseas voting. I wanted to make it simple. So I went out to, well, actually, no, I just wanted to help people register. I went out, and somebody, to find out how to do it, I was given a blurry form and a 500-page instruction book. So I tried to make that work, and as I was sitting on my Sunday afternoon with a colleague from IBM, I looked at him and said, "What's wrong with us? Why are we doing this one by one? This must be online." Well, it wasn't, and that's when the toast popped up, and I decided I would be the one to put it online, which I did, and it became Overseas Vote Foundation, which then went on to modernize the
all of the processes up to the point of the ballot being returned. We were absolutely drawing that very clear line. And we were able to get a lot of good modernization reform going, and then I went out to look for some more problems to solve. So we became U.S. Vote Foundation as our umbrella brand, and we're able to bring the same services over to the U.S. population, which is interesting going that direction, you know. But I was looking at it from afar. It looks really kind of different from afar, by the way. Sometimes more approachable. I can focus. Again, that helps. And we ended up then developing the civic data offering, which Larry referred to a part of it, one of the data sets that we have. So that's that overseas part. I want to focus on the end-to-end voting, verifiable internet voting specification and research project, which Larry also mentioned. And that whole project was about changing the conversation. And if it made one step forward, I think it was successful, because we really have to be practical about our expectations here. Sometimes it is baby steps, and even that's good. It was a very tough project, to say the least. When I found out ahead of time that I would receive this award, I wrote to some really good friends saying, I'm in shock. I'm getting an award for the project from hell. And they didn't need to ask me which project. But that's only one aspect of it. The technology part was really tough, but I'll tell you, the people part was harder. Out of that, though, came amazing surprises, and some of the wonderful people that I'd like to point out. Joe Canary, who was instrumental in the publication of the report, the conception of the report, worked very close with me, made sure, understood with me we had to deliver. So that was great. And then Candace Hope, who pulled it out with her group of students at Carnegie. Josh Benelow, outrageous, great. The original, I think Josh and Ron, you were the original motivators for that. And I wanted to make, there's just so many. I did want to ask, I can't go down the list of all the people because I think there were 35 geniuses. That was the other code project name, was the Genius Project. So I don't want you to get the wrong idea. So there are many people in this room, I think now, if you would stand, if you were part of that project, just so we could see. Purvi and Duncan and Joe and Barbara and Josh. And these are just a few. So I want to thank you, and I'm glad you clapped for them, because they're the ones that deserve it. They did the hard work. Anyway, thank you all very, very much.